"You're not getting any of tonight's pot roast. Here, eat this instead," my mother-in-law says, handing me a bowl. I look at it, but this is leftover soup and salad from 2 days ago. It might have gone bad. "Don't be wasteful, you can handle it, right?" she snaps. "I don't want to waste good meat on you." "I can't eat this," I murmur, but she just glares at me. "Leftovers are perfect for you, stop complaining and eat." This is what my life has become. My mother-in-law always treats me like this. She's so rude, and it really gets under my skin. My name is Mary, I'm 27, balancing work and home life, and I got married just a year ago. Right now, we're living with my husband's family. I never wanted to live with my in-laws, but my husband is the oldest son, so we didn't have much choice. Both he and his mom have traditional values. My father-in-law passed away, and my husband said he wanted to be there for his mom. I don't know why, though, she's still full of life. My brother-in-law is single and works overseas, so he can't help, but still, I hate living here. Lately, my husband has even started being mean to me, like he's copying his mom. He was never like this before we got married. Now he acts superior, always finding reasons to yell at me. It gives me a headache. "Hey, why is my shirt so wrinkled?" he snaps one morning. "Wrinkled? I ironed it." "Not well enough," he interrupts. "Can't you do something so simple, right? You're a useless wife." "That's not fair," I say quietly, hurt. "Are you talking back to me?" he sneers. "Your face is as wrinkled as this shirt. Seriously, you look older than you are. It's such a turn-off." I stand there, stunned, wondering what happened to the man I married. Before we got married, my husband used to call me adorable and treated me like a princess. Now, he insults my parents and laughs about it. I don't understand why he's become so cruel. I'm not wrinkled like he says. Ironically, he's the one who's starting to bald, and sometimes I catch myself wishing he'd just go completely bald one day. Our marriage is still new, but I'm already worried about the future. Sometimes, I even think about divorce. I feel exhausted every day. After work, I come home and do all the house chores, leaving me feeling like I'll collapse. My mother-in-law doesn't help at all. She just spends her day sitting in front of the TV, with crumbs all over the floor that I have to clean up. I wish she'd at least use a plate. One evening after dinner, my mother-in-law suddenly brought up an idea. "Hey, let's all go to a spa resort for the new year." "Oh, that sounds great," my husband replied enthusiastically. "I'll make the reservation first thing tomorrow." They both seemed so happy about it. Honestly, I didn't want to go anywhere with them, but I did love spa resorts. This one had recently been on TV, so despite everything, I was excited about going. After that, my mother-in-law mentioned something else. She looked at me and said, "We only have a small car, so I was hoping we could borrow your family's minivan. That way, we can bring plenty of luggage." I agreed to ask my dad. He has both a minivan and a small car. He usually drives the smaller car and uses the minivan for camping trips. When I called him, he was happy to lend it to us. With that, we prepared for the New Year trip. I was incredibly busy with year-end cleaning. As usual, while my mother-in-law barely moved from the sofa, she just laid there, watching TV all day. Finally, New Year's Day arrived, and I woke up excited for the trip, but when I looked at the alarm clock, I froze. It was already 8:30, I'd overslept, and my husband wasn't there. I checked the bathroom, but he wasn't there either. Where could he be? Where is everyone? Did they go somewhere without me? I checked my mother-in-law's room, but she wasn't there. Feeling uneasy, I rushed to the living room where I'd left my phone to charge overnight. There was a text notification from my mother-in-law. Her message read, "We're going to have fun. We never booked a place for you. You can spend a lonely New Year alone. It's fine if the bride doesn't come along." My heart sank. She'd planned all along to leave me behind and go on the trip with my husband. I felt a mix of sadness and anger. They'd even turned off my alarm so I'd oversleep. And now it made sense why she'd encouraged me to drink so much the night before. She wanted me to pass out. I regretted drinking that much, but at least they hadn't drugged me. Even though I was furious, I realized getting angry wouldn't change anything. I decided to make the best of my time alone. I thought about going to my parents' house, but they were away on a plane trip, so there was no point. Instead, I ordered pizza and spent New Year's alone. When my mother-in-law and husband returned from their trip, they looked so happy. "It was amazing, the best time ever. I want to go again, without you." "Of course, Mary," my mother-in-law said with a grin. Then she handed me a small package. "Here, this is your souvenir." I looked at it, wondering what it could possibly be. It's a stone I found lying around. It suits you perfectly. Oh, is that so? I replied, trying to hide my frustration. I couldn't help but think that my mother-in-law was being extremely spiteful. Frustrated, I decided to return the minivan to my parents' house, hoping they'd be home by now. When I arrived, my father came out to greet me. "Did you enjoy the spa resort? That famous spa should have been quite satisfying," he said. "I didn't go, because I'm the bride," I replied, a bit bitterly. My mother-in-law told me it was fine if the bride didn't come. I woke up, and they were already gone. "What?" he exclaimed. After that, my father began doing something I hadn't expected. He had me sit in the passenger seat of the minivan and started driving us back to my in-laws' house. As I glanced at him, I could see he was angry, and that surprised me. My father is usually so calm, but any dad would be upset if his daughter were treated that way. When we arrived, my father stormed into my in-laws' house holding something in his hand. My mother-in-law came out. "Oh, hello, and Happy New Year. Sorry for borrowing your minivan," she greeted us with a fake smile. "Happy New Year," my father replied. "Speaking of which, you left our daughter behind, didn't you?" "No, Mary said she had a fever and couldn't go, so we reluctantly had to leave her behind. I even offered to take care of her." My mother-in-law lied smoothly, a smirk on her face. She'd definitely never said anything like that, and I wasn't even sick. I couldn't believe she'd lie so openly. I started to wonder if something was wrong with her. "Oh, really?" my father responded coolly, "but our daughter told us she received a text saying, 'It's fine if the bride doesn't come.'" "Did I say that? I don't remember," she replied, shrugging. "Yes, you did. Look at this text," I said, showing her the message on my phone. Still, she insisted she was innocent, even after being shown the proof. I was honestly shocked at how shamelessly she could deny it. In a strange way, her persistence was almost impressive. "You're still saying that, huh?" my father said, glaring at her. "You're truly a sad person." "Oh, by the way, can I charge you for cleaning the car's interior?" "What? Why?" she asked, startled. "Because you dirted it, with a married man, no less." What a filthy, disgusting scene. What are you talking about?" my mother-in-law stammered. "This, right here," my father said, holding up a device, captured by this dual camera. What my father had in his hand was a dash cam. This model has dual cameras, so it records not only the outside of the car, but also the inside. The benefit of recording the interior is that it can provide proof of safe driving. My mother-in-law, not knowing much about cars or car accessories, probably didn't realize this was a dual camera, but that still didn't explain what she was doing with a married man in the first place. I regretted watching the footage my father played back for us. There were images of my mother-in-law in an inappropriate posture with an unknown man. Even though my father-in-law is no longer with us, it's beyond outrageous to be doing something like that with a married man, and in the family car, no less. "This happened on the exact day you borrowed the car," my father said in disgust. "How shameful." Wait, this doesn't mean we were doing anything inappropriate. It's not perverted or anything." My mother-in-law was panicking, stumbling over her words as tears welled up in her eyes. She was on the verge of breaking down. I'll admit, I felt a bit of satisfaction watching her unravel. After all the times she tormented me, I couldn't bring myself to feel sympathy. She deserved this. She began making pathetic excuses, her explanations jumbled and incoherent as she tried desperately to defend herself. Then, suddenly, my father pulled another item from his pocket, a photograph. It showed my mother-in-law with the same man, engaged in an explicit act, in broad daylight, somewhere secluded. My father looked her in the eye. "You wouldn't have seen these, had you not been so cruel to my dear Mary." "Why do you have that picture?" "Because I'm a detective, remember?" my father replied. "Oh, do you recall now?" I'd been telling her all along that my father was a detective, which explained why he had such a photograph. Coincidentally, the wife of the married man in the picture had hired him to investigate an affair. "It turns out the wife of this man hired me to investigate her husband's affair," my father explained. "I was surprised to discover you were the other woman. I was going to inform her next week, but I didn't expect to have to show you this so soon." "Huh? No, I'm innocent. I was just forced into an unpleasant situation. I am not at fault. Please, don't tell his wife," she pleaded. "Oh, it was against your will, was it? You seem to be enjoying yourself." We also have video footage of you whispering sweet words to the man. Do you want to see it? I'm sorry, she stammered. My mother-in-law collapsed to her knees and burst into tears. I watched her pitiful display with a cold glare. Sensing the tension, my husband arrived. I'd run out of patience with him, too, and proposed a divorce. I've had enough. I want to end this. Let's get divorced. What? He said, looking shocked. I'll go crazy if I stay in this horrible family any longer. So, I'm leaving. Hold on, what will happen to our living expenses if you leave? Huh? What do you mean? I was fired a while ago, he admitted. He dropped the bombshell that he'd lost his job at the end of the year. I was taken aback. He hadn't told me anything, knowing he'd been fired. He still decided to go on the spa resort trip. What a fool. I felt I had no choice but to divorce him. I took off my wedding ring and left it there. Desperately, he tried to stop me. Wait, can't you forgive me for not taking you on the spa resort trip? It's not just about the trip. I don't want to be with you or your mother anymore. If you want to live with your mother that much, then go ahead. You mama's boy. Please, wait, don't go. I hired a lawyer and proceeded with the divorce. My ex-husband seems to be struggling with his finances now that I'm gone. I thought he should find a new job quickly, but since he was fired for theft, he'll likely struggle to find one. Apparently, his previous employer dismissed him because he was caught stealing. They decided they couldn't trust him and didn't want someone like that on their team. Unsurprisingly, the wife of my mother-in-law's lover demanded compensation for the affair. My mother-in-law ended up spending all the money left by my father-in-law to settle the payment. I haven't seen my ex-husband or ex-mother-in-law since, but I imagine they're living a difficult life. It doesn't matter to me anymore. Currently, I'm living alone and enjoying my work. I'm glad I decided not to have a child with my ex-husband. Now, I'm enjoying a peaceful life, and I'd be happy to find a new love if the opportunity arises. My plan is to make sure I choose wisely this time.